I've-
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Around the Pound. I am your host, Marcus Shadow. And joining me today, not host, James Phoenix.
Hello.
And on the other side of the pond, Chris, aka Demo, who lives in a hole.
Cheers.
So yes, this is our weekly show where we talk about shit that happened during the week, and we talk about shit that happened to us during the week. So let's get started. I will kick this off. The first thing on my list, and this is for you, Rictor, if you're watching this. Guilty Gear Xrd Sign is getting a limited edition release in North America for PS4 and PS3. The outer box will be a replica of The Backyard, which apparently is an alternate world hiding within the Guilty Gear universe in the form of a book. It'll come with a soundtrack with all the hard rock music from the games, and an art book profiling characters from Xrd, from Double X Accent Core, and from Guilty Gear 2 Overture. And you'll get a keychain replica of Soul Bad Guy's belt buckle, which is kind of awesome. The PS4 version will retail for $80 US, and the PS3 version will retail for $70.
That's not that bad. 80 for a collector's edition like that. That's not a bad price.
Yeah, it sounds
And on a next-gen console, nonetheless.
indeed.
Technically current gen.
Well, current gen, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's kick over to the hairy one, the mode.
Okay, for my first bit of news, it's only small amount, but it's kind of cool. Is Variety reported news that apparently there's a new potential TV series with Nightwing / Dick Grayson as the title character for a Teen Titans show. Variety also named Starfire and Raven as other members of the team. I can't pronounce his name, but Akvia Goldsmith, I think it is executive producing, meaning basically the writer of Batman and Robin is now returning to a Bat-connected project. And it says, you may want to have held off doing that, just because you also have to think he's done other stuff. For example, the TV show Fringe, which was fucking awesome. He also directed and wrote the Da Vinci Code. That also got praised. So he made a mistake with Batman. I'm sure he can do it right. I mean, Fringe was a great show.
Yeah, and in all fairness, despite the fact that people blame him, Schumacher, whoever else, most of the problem with Batman and Robin was the studio.
It was the studio, and I'll admit a little Schumacher. But Mark Hames from Men in Black 2 and The Legend of Zorro will serve as co-executive producer. Goldsman and Hames will write the pilot together, says the Wall Street Journal. Which means Warner Brothers, under the Warner Horizon Television branch, will now be producing Titans, which, if it goes to series, will now join Arrow, The Flash, Gotham, Constantine, iZombie, and last week I reported Supergirl. Teen Titans.
Actually, I believe both I read correctly. They're just calling it Titans, I think.
Yeah, they're calling it Titans, but it's basically Teen Titans / the Titans when they're slightly growing up, which means, yes, at last we're probably going to have a faithful adaptation of the Titans.
We did. It was the Cartoon Network animated series.
That was not faithful at all.
No, okay.
No. But it was still awesome.
No. But I will say, for the sake of random continuity, depending on how old the Titans are supposed to be in this series, I like to say Joseph Gordon-Levitt for Nightwing.
I would say no.
Fair enough.
And that wouldn't work for continuity because his name was supposed to be Robin.
True.
However, I am curious how this will work because either A, they're going to have to make a stance on whether or not the TV and movie ones are separate or what, because they keep interchanging whether or not they're going to be. Because Batman vs Superman has a Nightwing, this will have a Nightwing, unless it's the same dude. They're different people. They're different universes. They have to be.
Well, didn't they already confirm that the Flash in the Flash show is not going to be the Flash in the movies?
They said the Flash in the show, the Flash, and Arrow were not going to be in the movies. However, they did say it's possible these could be considered prequels to the other ones, or they could tie into them in the future if they wanted to, and they went back on it, and they didn't, and they went back on it, and they didn't. It's weird, but it's almost like they know their shows are good. Like, Arrow, much better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's a case of they know that their shows are good. They know they're getting high views and stuff. So as a result, they can't decide whether or not they want to risk putting the two together.
Makes sense.
But with all these TV shows being developed and coming out, they, like you said, they need to take a stance. Otherwise, it's going to be a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
They do. Although I'm thinking they're going to have to with Supergirl. To be fair, because obviously ties to Superman.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if it's the same actress.
Yep.
But you mean the same actress?
She's not slated to show up in any movies.
Yeah, Supergirl's not meant to show up in any movies. All they had was the prequel comic for it, mentioned Kara and showed her ship come down to Earth, and that led little Kal-El down to Earth.
Okay, I thought that they actually showed it, because I still haven't seen Man of Steel, so I thought you had mentioned that they actually showed, Kara with Lex.
No, it was a prequel comic, and to be fair, it's heavily assumed in the prequel comic she probably would have died.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
But, like some people said, it's also possible she could have lived. But, you know what I mean? So it's and also, with it being a prequel comic to a film, how often do those get written out?
Yeah. I guess also we'll see if Supergirl gets introduced in Batman v Superman, since they have a Lex. So if her story is she's supposed to be with Lex, then it would make sense if she's still alive, she would show up with or against Lex.
But I don't think she would really need her, only because if the rumors are to be believed, he has the body of Zod. I don't think he needs another Kryptonian.
Yeah, plus she doesn't really need Lex.
Not really.
I mentioned she dated Lex in Smallville, Marcus, if that's what you were thinking. That was one of the reasons that show sucked.
That and what they did to people like Doomsday.
Yep.
Fair enough.
That and the fact it existed after season 4.
Well.
Alright, over to Stachio Mustachio.
Thank you. Anyway, my first item, I'm going to, depending whether I want to cover 2 and 1 here. I'll just cover 2 and 1 to make it easier. This week in celebrity weddings. First of all, Neil Patrick Harris, of course, everybody's favorite leading man from How I Met Your Mother. Everybody's favorite great show. Everybody's favorite cameo artist from the Harold and Kumar films, another hosting of every award show on the face of the planet.
Dr. Horrible.
Dr. Horrible sing-along blog, I love that. All kinds of good stuff like that. We don't mention Smurfs.
Hey, I own both of them.
You just own them because you wanted True Blue.
No, that CD came out years before that movie.
I know, I was making a joke.
And let's not forget the show that made him famous and the man he is today.
Doogie Howser,
MD. That show was fucking awesome.
Well, anyway, Neil Patrick Harris has married his longtime fiancé, David Burga, in a very quietly done ceremony in Italy. Indeed. They were wearing custom Tom Ford tuxedos. Harris, 41, and Burga, 39, were wed by close friend and mentor Pam Fromm and the longtime director of How I Met Your Mother officiating the ceremony.
Nice.
Which is cool. And the couple's fraternal twins, Harper Grace and Gideon Scott, aged 3.5, were involved in the ceremony as well, serving as flower girl and ring bearer. Although Gideon did not like bearing rings and wanted to bear fruit instead, so he also handed out oranges to people as he went down the aisle.
Nice.
And the festive evening, one of the main highlights was a special performance by one Sir Elton John. No, well, that was fun. So yeah, they've been engaged for about 5 or 6 years now. Well, 5 years at the time that gay marriage passed here in the state of New York, and so they were finally able to get married. So they went and had their little ceremony over there, and as NPH put it on his Twitter, we put the N and D in husband.
Nice.
So there you go. In further wedding news, we also had the wedding of one Fran Drescher, whom everybody, of course, remembers as the nanny, and who is currently starring as the evil stepmother on the Broadway production of Cinderella.
Don't think I saw that.
Yep, she has wed her boyfriend of several years now, who is actually a rather famous dude that you probably haven't heard of. You know what I'm saying? No, because I didn't know this. But she wed her... the 56-year-old actress married the 50-year-old in an intimate group of at their beach home in front of an intimate group of close family and friends. Fran wore a Bagley Mishka wedding dress, and he wore a Ralph Lauren suit. And Fran Drescher did have a previous husband, one Peter Mark Jacobson, who she divorced from in 1999. And these two have been dating for quite a while, but her husband is one Shiva Ayyadurai, who, if you don't know, is the guy who invented email. So that's a cool thing.
Okay, then.
Yay, thanks for the spam, Dick.
Yeah, pretty much.
No,
Because he holds the patent. He holds the patent for the invention of email. Way back, I mean, he's only 50 years old, so he was probably only like 20 at the time he invented it. So
he must be a billionaire now.
Probably. That wouldn't shock me. He's probably rich as all hell. So there you go. So that's this week in celebrity wedding news. Back to Marcus.
So that would make Fran Drescher now the heiress to email, yes?
Basically.
Yeah, she and her progeny are set for life.
Does Fran Drescher have kids?
I don't know. She can
Are you
still have
trying
kids
to-
with her new husband.
Are you trying to imply something, Marcus? They could have married for love.
Hmm. Yeah, they
Well,
could, but
certainly
again,
wasn't for money because they're both rich.
Yeah.
yeah, she could, but she's also 56.
So
So it's kind of, I mean, well, you can do it with proper medical procedures. It's a little hard to get pregnant at that age.
it's been done. But anyway,
Anyway. Just because it's been done doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. But moving along.
Just like turning Disney movies into musicals.
Exactly.
so my second bit of news is the Transporter movies has been rebooted as a movie called The Transporter Legacy with actor Ed Skrein, best known for his role of Dario on Game of Thrones, as the new Frank Martin.
So the Transporter Legacy, does that mean that Matt Damon is going to cameo as Jason Transporter?
I don't know. But also, I happened to look on IMDb because I was looking at information for the rest of this because I have like the director and stuff. And apparently, they've also announced they're doing a Transporter 5 and 6. So even though it's a reboot, apparently Transporter Legacy is Transporter 4. Make of that what you will.
So what I mean is it's a reboot of the franchise, but I don't mean it's a remake. Because sometimes rebooting the franchise can just be starting anew with a new cast and a new point of which people are interested.
A cough,
maybe.
a Power Rangers film, a cough.
That's
So I
meant to be a
guess Ed Skrein
reimagining.
So I guess Ed Skrein going to get a trilogy, and then they're going to cast somebody else and reboot it again in like 6 years.
Yeah.
But this movie is
Yep.
directed by a Camille Delamare, or Delamare. I'm not exactly sure how to say her last name. She's a relative unknown director. She edited Transporter 3, Columbiana, and Taken 2. So make of that what you will. It is. It has
Taken 2
been
is a good
written-
movie, except for the fact that all the action didn't kick in until like 45 minutes into the movie.
Right. Of course, she is the director for this one, so we'll see how she does as a director. She's only directed a couple things, nothing really too large. But this movie has also been written by Bill Collage and Adam Cooper, who were the writing teams for and I know Jim is going to get this one. New York Minute.
Is that the Olsen twin movie?
Yes.
Yes.
And they also wrote Accepted, a comedy with Jonah Hill, Tower Heist with Eddie Murphy and Ben Stiller, and they've also penned the upcoming Assassin's Creed movie.
So basically a bunch of shit and a movie that could possibly be good, thanks to Michael Fassbender.
To be fair,
Pretty much.
the New York Minute film with the Olsen twins is pretty damn cool. I own that on DVD. In terms of what it was, as far as if you rate it in terms of the Olsen films and the genre of films they normally do, like those teeny, happy-go-lucky films, it's not that bad. It's actually a pretty well done one.
I did like the joke where they ran half naked past Bob Saget and he just glared at them. That was funny.
But it's being produced by Luc Besson, who's produced a whole shit ton of stuff, including all the Transporter movies, all the Taken movies, and other shit. Of note, of my personal favorite, he wrote and produced Leon the Professional, which is a fucking awesome movie.
Never heard of it.
And his co-producer is one Mark Gao, who is a relative unknown. He hasn't done much, so this could be big for him. The studio behind the movie is Relativity Studios, and it will release on March 6th of 2015. So it is coming up. And the reason why this made news is because they have released the first still from the movie, and it's of Ed Skrein in the suit as Frank Martin. So you can find that on the interwebs now. Over to the mole.
Fair enough. And that sounded pretty cool. And this one, I don't know if you'd count it as news. It just piqued my interest, as some would say. But basically, Glamour, I believe, I don't know if it's a magazine or a web page.
Glamour's a magazine over here.
Okay, Glamour magazine, I'll assume, asked Disney animator veteran Don Hahn, I believe that's pronounced, why characters like Belle in Beauty and the Beast and Ariel in Little Mermaid only had fathers. And he responded with, one reason is practical, because the movie's about 80 to 90 minutes long, and Disney films about growing up. They're about that day in your life when you have to accept responsibility. Simba ran away from home, but he had to come back. In shorthand, it's much quicker to have characters grow up when you can just bump off their parents. Bambi's mother gets killed off, so he has a place to grow up. I honestly thought Bambi was a girl. Belle only has a father, but he gets lost, so she has to step into that position. It's a story shorthand, explained Hahn. Other reason,
and in all fairness, her father is crazy old Maurice. Does he really seem like a good father figure to you?
Yeah. The other reason, and this is where I figured it's a good talking point, is because the other reason, and this is really odd. Walt Disney, in the early 1940s, when he was still living at this home, also bought a house for his mother and dad to move into. He had the studio guys come over and fix the furnace, but when his mum and dad moved in, the furnace leaked, and his mother died. The housekeeper came in the next morning and pulled his mother and father out to the front lawn. His father was sick and went to the hospital, but his mother died. He never would talk about it. Nobody ever does. He just never spoke about that time because he personally felt responsible because he'd become so successful that he said, let me buy you a house. Hahn then added that there's a theory, and I'm not really a psychologist, but he was really haunted by that. The idea was he really contributed to his mother's death, and that's really tragic. If you dig, you can read about it. It's not a secret within their family, but it's just a tragedy. It's so different to even talk about. It helps to understand the man a little bit more, and to me it humanizes Walt. He was devastated by that, and as anyone would be. So yeah, that's what they said about why the Disney films don't have parents, or don't have mothers, I should say. Which, when you think about it, it does kind of make it makes a bit of sense, logically speaking.
Except for Tangled, where there's too many mothers.
Yeah, but to be fair, they're talking about classic Disney animations.
Yeah. Cinderella had a stepmother, did that count?
Yeah. she didn't have a mother; she had a stepmother. But yeah, it's all true. It adds up, and I still think it's a great talking point because I always hear people talk about how they don't have mothers, and some people try and make out it's sexist, and other people try and make out that it's just because they couldn't do mothers, or it's because they thought the character it's just cliched and they're just going for the crap. But it's kind of cool to figure that there's an actual meat there, if that makes sense, like a real reason for this, and it makes sense. And I'll be honest, if I was in his shoes, I'd probably feel the same way.
Yeah. And trying to think about it, some productions there was almost a big one that had one because in the original drafts of Aladdin had his mother in the production, and she ended up getting cut when they reworked the film.
But what does Marcus think?
Yes, Marcus has been quiet.
No, I agree. That is actually very interesting, something I didn't know. And yeah, it makes complete sense, especially with the movies that Walt himself were involved with. It's like, okay, yeah, fair enough. That's a good reason.
Yeah, and yeah, like I said, it makes sense, and it's one of those newses where, okay, it's not like, oh, they just announced the new Supergirl and new Teen Titans where everyone's going to be like, yay about it, but I think it's quite interesting. And it's a good little talking point.
Indeed.
So over to Jim.
Alrighty. Moving on to the next piece of news that I have.
I think it was Jim. Or was it Marcus?
Yes. No, it's Jim.
No, it's me. You're right. So, moving on to the next piece of news I have. This one kind of just sucked all around. But at the well-known Six Flags theme park over in California there, the one right outside LA there, earlier in the week, right at the beginning of the week, right around Monday, there was a fire at the closed Colossus roller coaster on Magic Mountain, and the roller coaster burned and collapsed, or at least a large chunk of it did, the very tall portion of it.
Oh, that sucks.
Luckily, the ride had been closed 3 weeks earlier for renovations, so whatever set the roller coaster on fire, somebody at that park probably got fired.
Probably, and it's also sad that depending on how much it costs them to replace it, which I assume they have the money, but it's you know what I mean. It's just it's also sad that it's part of history that just burnt down, because some people will be fond of that roller coaster when they remake it. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah, they were already in the process of upgrading it, replacing it. They were going to make it. The thing is, the reason this burned so well is because this was one of the really old wooden roller coasters. It was still an old wood one from back in the day, and they were actually in the process of upgrading it to do some reinforcements to it. And they were going to make a hybrid roller coaster called Twisted Colossus to replace it. I'm assuming they're still making that, and it's basically, it looks like it's a hybrid coaster. It was going to be a hybrid of the wooden ride and metal. And it was going to be a 128-foot high drop, a high five, where two trains pass each other while turning around each other, kind of like this. Like they're going down, and they go kind of like this around each other, like this. A Top Gun stall where the train slows down while it's upside down, all kinds of stuff. The original roller coaster opened at the theme park on June 29th of 1978, and was open for 36 years up until back on the 17th of August when they closed it down for the renovations. The new coaster is scheduled to open in 2015, but that might be delayed with the necessary new construction after the collapse.
Yeah, I will say I knew it was the wooden roller coaster and stuff, and I will say it's still a shame that they were going to make it a hybrid one and stuff, because I've been to a Six Flags, not that one, and stuff like that, because I do like roller coasters, I do like theme parks, I should say, and that ride was actually on one of the documentary things over here listing the greatest rides of all time. And one of the reasons a load of roller coaster enthusiasts listed that is because it was wooden. As you were going over it, when it creaked and bent with the wind, no two rides were the same, and it felt more dangerous than any other roller coaster, yet felt safe, oddly enough, because of the wood, that it just gave you this huge rush, which, if they went with a hybrid one, I kind of feel that's going to be lost, but I understand it, because health and safety changes over the course of the years, but it's still kind of a shame because that seems like such history, and it seems like something a lot of people love, and it would have closed down if loads of people had died and stuff on it. So I don't see the reason for it. If at the same time, if that makes sense, like I'd be for keeping it wooden.
Fair enough. What do you think, Marcus?
Well, I'm not a huge roller coaster fan. I'm kind of acrophobic, so being that high up, yeah. But I don't know. It could go either way. I guess.
Are you
You
also
know,
are you also an arachnophobic? So if you were climbing up to get the briefcase, if there was a spider on the ladder,
yes.
I'm sorry, I wanted to make the R-Truth joke.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes. But I'm not crazy like R-Truth. But
We'll agree
no,
to
I mean
disagree.
if well, fuck you. But if you have like memories of that, or if that kind of roller coaster, with the old wooden structure and stuff, if that appeals to you, then yeah, it's kind of a shame that they're doing that. But at the same time, like Mo said, safety and whatnot, and just nowadays you got to go with some of the more modern man-made materials because it's just out and out safer, and you won't be able to operate if it's not safe. Now they could do more modern woods and treatments for the woods and stuff to make it safer, but that comes down to how much money they want to spend and where the direction they want to go with it. At the end of the day, it belongs to Six Flags, so
It does.
I think about it is irrelevant.
It does, but yeah, it's still interesting but I also think part of the reason is because, and I hate to say this, but it's because metal is easier to replace than the wood, because the wood you have to carve and all that, and nowadays, at least with the way the world's changing and stuff, like we've mentioned this in the past and around the pounds, but over here at least, and I know it's the same in parts over there, loads of libraries are closed down because now people can just rent books through Kindle, or bookshops have started to close down, or actual high street shops are closed down because people want to online shop, and it's like the more convenience we get and the more technology we get, the more we abandon the old ways. It's just less traditional. It's like in my city, they recently restored an old bus with the old metal, the open top, and it's not like the open top buses you see on TV for England. This one's from the 70s, 80s, and it's really vintage looking. It's one of the most popular things going. I think there's a market there. People need to sort of, I don't know, but protect our history instead of going for what's convenient. Go for what's classic, or go for what's better, not what's more convenient. You can go to Amazon and you can buy any books and games and stuff, and I do. I myself shop at Amazon and stuff. However, I also like going into say a shop itself and browsing the products and looking inside. If I'm Christmas shopping for my nephew, I could go online and buy the toys, but I like going inside Toys R Us and pressing all the buttons and hearing the noises and be like, oh, that one made me cheer. Wait, he'll cheer. Purchasing it. You go in my trolley.
Yeah, I agree.
That one did a disappointing noise. Back on the shelf.
But unfortunately, in today's society, like you said, with the changing times, unfortunately, as the old saying goes, money talks. And with the advent of Amazon and PlayStation Network and stuff like that, the old ways doing it, the libraries, although the library is free, so that's why they're still around. But bookstores, Barnes, there's not as many, Barnes and Noble and stuff like that, and then Blockbuster and all those video rentals and stuff. Excuse me.
Redbox.
Because everything is available online now. Like you said, not so many people go to those things and spend money there, and if there's no money being put into those facilities by people renting and or buying things like that, then there's no feasible way they can stay open even if they wanted to, because they're not just going to fund a sinkhole.
Yep. It's I'm a firm believer, and I can't, because I don't know if it sounds too old or too snobbish or whatever, but I'm a firm believer in let people try better stuff and they will like it. If you keep giving someone the wet ham squares that you get, they're going to say, okay, that's cool. But if you go and buy a ham and you cook it and you slice it up and stuff, they're going to enjoy that. They're going to love that. And it's the same with the more this technology. Like I said, the more we get the convenience, we lose just so much more, and I don't like it. I know the world's changing and stuff, but I just don't like it. It's weird. It's wrong. I don't like that.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of people that feel that way. I mean, I can name 3 country songs off the top of my head just about how the past was better and the future's ruined and things.
Yep. And there's loads of people that do that, and there's loads of people that mention it, and a lot of people, and I understand the new generation do want stuff like the convenience and stuff, but how is it more convenient to look online and go like that on a phone or something and go, I'll buy that. Okay, let's compare these two. Okay, that one. Than it is and then wait a couple of days for someone to ship something to your door, than it is to go there on that day and do that across a shelf, look for the one that's best, try them out, and purchase it. It makes no sense. It's like, here's an interesting fact that makes me sad. Do you know what the biggest shopping day of the entire year in my country was last year?
Your country, no.
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day?
Christmas Day. So Amazon are now going to start doing Christmas Day sales and stuff, we mentioned, because on Christmas Day, everyone logged on to Amazon and Tesco's and all these online shops and started to shop on Christmas Day.
What the fuck?
Why?
Like, okay, it'll take a couple of days, but I've got my Amazon gift card here now. Let's redeem it. Or, okay, I've got some money here, or I got paid Christmas Eve and I couldn't really be bothered I couldn't go and get the money on Christmas Eve, which happens, which is fair enough. And they shopped on Christmas Day, and I'm like, that's weird. Christmas Day, you shouldn't be shopping.
No.
That is bizarre.
That is very bizarre.
Yep. I think a lot of it comes down to the society we live in today, because there's a lot of people who, because of the way the world, and not just the U.S. economy, but the world economy is right now, who are working 50, 60, 70-hour work weeks and don't have that kind of time, or not during the day anyway, to go to a store and look at stuff and browse around. I mean, I have the advantage of I happen to work in a retail store, so I can do a lot of that while I'm at work, but not everybody can. So if you're working in a hospital or something for 15, 20 hours a day, I mean, not that much, but if you're working in a hospital for 12, 14-hour shifts on a day, depending on the time of day, you're not going to have time to go walk through a store and look at stuff. You're going to need to be able to sit down when it's convenient on your time to look at items you want and buy them, and not have to worry about going to pick them up or something. So that's why I think internet shopping is a lot more popular, because people can do it on their time when they have time, because everybody's working so much, nobody has time during the day to do anything anymore.
Which is partly true. Although everyone, unless you're working multiple jobs and stuff, everyone has at least 1 day a week off or 2 days a week off. The way I always used to be, and I still do this, is like one of the days off, I'd go to the shops and I'll look around and see what I like, try on look at new T-shirts, decide what I want to buy, look at new DVDs and games and stuff and purchase them, because it's a day off and it gets you out. Which I don't know, it's ironic, the fat guy saying this, but it's weird how many people don't want to go out on their days off or something, because they'd rather just go onto Amazon and be like, yeah, it's done.
Well, I can understand that, because I work 3 jobs, so I know what it's like to finally have a day off and be exhausted and not want to do anything on that one day you actually have off.
Yeah, but
I can understand how that feels.
I mentioned not people with multiple jobs, because sometimes they overlap and stuff. People with the normal work rate, like the average work rate of one job.
Yeah. But I don't know about your country, but over here in our country, multiple jobs is the normal now because of our economy.
Over here, and I believed it was the same over there. As they mentioned, you're considered lucky to have one job.
Yeah. But a lot of people, especially, there's a lot of single parents who are trying to pay for an apartment and feed their kids and everything else, and they're working 2 or 3 jobs or whatever else. People like me, we, especially my generation, we all graduated college, and now we've got, tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt that we have to be able to pay off, and we can't get jobs for the degrees that we just graduated with because there's no jobs. So we've got to work 2, 3 low-wage jobs just to make enough money to make our student loan payments.
What do you mean your generation? Aren't you and Chris the same generation?
Our generation, fine.
Yeah, and like I said, which is fair enough, and I know loads of people over there that only have one job, and so it varies. Your situation does vary based on the thing. It's also slightly ironic. It's slightly ironic, not what used, but it's also ironic that you'll get people who are unemployed and stuff who will go on like Amazon or something, type in the orders, and I use Amazon as an example because it's a big shop. You can use eBay substitute to whichever shop you use. But they go on Amazon, they start typing it in, then they get their stuff, and then they complain that they can't find a job. The reason you can't find a job is all the stores are closing because you won't go and look at stuff in the shops.
Mm-hmm.
If you went out and looked at stuff in the shop, there would be more jobs.
Yeah. That is ironic.
This is true.
But I think we've depressed ourselves enough. Why don't we go on to the next topic of contention?
I don't know, we're going over to Marcus, that'll just depress me more.
No, we're not. It goes to Jim, but I just want to say that
was Jim.
What you're talking about, Mole, I'm also seeing in the industry that I work with, the shipping industry, because more and more with Amazon and stuff, also came online shipping and people doing all of that from home and being able to. I mean, people can print out fucking labels at home, which means the need for an actual shipping place there's no need for it now. All you need is a place where you can drop your shit off so it gets picked up. That's all you need.
Yeah. Why do you think the U.S. Postal Service is going out of business?
That's a different story, but we're not going to get into that here because I know why they're going out of business because I'm in the industry. And I can tell you right now, the number one reason is because they are government subsidized. But we won't get into that.
Can I just say one of the reasons they could have been going out of business as an outside source is because during the year in which you guys are getting a recession and people want to keep their jobs and people are trying to scrimp money and save money, they painted a load of fucking phone box to look like R2-D2. Not that I'm saying that was a bad idea, but as far as spending money goes...
You make a point.
But yes, no, remember, Marcus, this all stemmed off of my topic of the wooden roller coaster, so we're on to you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought it was off of Mole's topic. My bad. Okay,
no,
so...
I just took Jim's and
He just took mine and ran with it.
Since we're talking about how the future is ruining everything, let's talk about how the future is ruining everything. Or, in this case, maybe making it better. I don't know. It involves Apple, so I'll let you be the judge of whether it's ruining everything. Apple has announced the new iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus, now at 4.7 inches and 5.5-inch screens respectively, which many believe is a response to consumer complaints that the iPhone is too fucking small.
And I'd just like to interject for the record that the 5.5-inch iPhone is still smaller than the current Samsung Galaxies.
It is, but as the article pointed out, even this increase in size makes them now competitive with Samsung and makes them a viable alternative to their Samsung Galaxies.
Fair enough.
Can I just also say the Samsung Galaxy, for the average person, wouldn't be as good as the Apple stuff because the Apple stuff has a lot more apps and a lot more content that people will purchase. Because
that is true.
iTunes.
True. Valid point.
Blackberries.
There you go.
Yeah. Also, the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus will have Wi-Fi calling capability, which I'm assuming is something like a voice over IP. So you can make calls via a Wi-Fi connection if you're in a low signal area.
There you go.
Like, if you're in a hotel or some shit. AT&T says they won't support or launch the service until sometime in 2015 because they don't really see the need for it right now because they've gone on record saying they are focusing more on their actual wireless service, the cell phone service, and making that as good as it can be, which I can kind of agree with that, saying, well, we're a cell phone company. We want to make sure the cell phone stuff is good first. When the cell phone stuff is as good as it can get, okay, then maybe we'll give you the Wi-Fi stuff, but that's kind of on the outskirts.
But the thing is, the point of having the Wi-Fi calling is to supplement the cell service so it doesn't suck.
Yes, but if you think at it from AT&T's perspective, they are a cell phone service. So if they enable the Wi-Fi calling capabilities on their phones with their service, then they're basically saying you don't need our service, which goes against trying to make money on that service.
No, but you do because it's their Wi-Fi calling service. It's being offered as part of your phone plan.
I know.
That's how that works. It's like I said, just a sec, Mo. Because I have over there, it's on my desk, a Samsung Galaxy Exhibit that I have through Metro PCS. And you know what? Their cell phone network works pretty well. And you know what? If I happen to be in my home or in my place of businesses where I happen to have there's Wi-Fi available, it will auto-connect to the Wi-Fi and say, you're not doing Wi-Fi calling. And you know what? In a lot of those places where the cell phone tower isn't all that good, the Wi-Fi calling kicks in and you get perfect calling. So it doesn't, it's not like your folks got it instead of your cell service. You're supplementing your cell service. But yes,
Fair
what
enough.
you're saying.
Yeah, which I understood that, and I was also going to say, your idea is your example was weird, Marcus. In case you're in a place with a really crappy phone signal, but like great internet, like a hotel. When was the last time you saw a hotel with fucking decent internet? Come on, let's not kid ourselves. Their internet is unstable as fuck. With that point, you might as well just write your message on your phone and chuck it. You'll get it there faster.
When I talked to you guys on Skype when I was in Canada.
And you were broken up a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like Fallen Angel, when he was on joined us via a hotel a while back, it was like because hotels' internet isn't as good, if that makes sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying hotel internet is shit. I understand why it's there. It's just not as good as like a home internet.
True, and the primary reason for that is because you've got this one Wi-Fi and you've got like 100 people trying to use it at the same time.
Yeah, plus you got like a load of people, like I don't know, say guys in their between the ages of like 20 or between the ages of say 16 to 50 in there, probably in their own room. They don't want to pay for hotel porn, but they have Wi-Fi. What's going to happen there?
Fair enough.
They're going to
they're going to use the hotel's contact service to call a hooker.
Yeah, which I will say I understand for supplementing, and that's a great concept, and I think it can work. It's a great idea, and to be fair, Apple don't do things first, but the stuff they do, it just takes off because it's a brand.
Yep.
Yeah, just like there were a lot of tablets around before the iPad came out, but it was when they brought out the iPad and it looked all pretty, that's what made everybody want to buy it.
Plus, it has iTunes.
That too.
Right. But Apple also unveiled the new Apple smartwatch. That's right, folks. It's not called the iWatch because that sounds stupid. It is called the Apple smartwatch. And it comes in 2 sizes, which people believe are addressing their current consumer complaint with Samsung's Galaxy watches that they're too big. Go figure. To go along with these 2 new devices, Apple unveiled a new app that allows you to work on the same document across devices. So, for instance, you could start work on a document on your iPad, decide you got to start moving, whip out your iPhone, and go to where you're going to go and work on it on your iPhone. You can even go to your watch to use it if you wanted to. And then finally, and I don't think they have it out yet, but they are planning to release it, for a Mac. So you could actually then take your document and finish it on your computer at home.
At which point you'll then look at it all and realize, wow, this is a piece of shit, and you'll install a Windows runner on your Apple so you can use Word.
Hey, to be fair, Apple do great stuff.
No. This isn't an app that allows you to write documents. It's an app that syncs across your devices, so you can start the document on one device and just keep going with it across the devices without needing to stop working on the document.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is kind of cool. I will admit, if you can do it with your phone to your iPad, I don't see why a watch is convenient to move it, because who the fuck is like, oh god, I've got an important document, my laptop's over there, but my phone's over here. Oh god, what should I do? I can't carry my phone. What do I do? Oh, I know. I'll move it to my new $100 watch, and then a few $100 watch, and then walk over to it and drag it. Why? And what the fuck?
Also,
and again, with smartphones and smart watches, what the fuck happened to a watch that told time? Because I'm sorry, I wouldn't buy an Apple Watch. I'd buy if I could buy any watch in the world, it'd be a Rolex.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I forgot to mention this. The smartwatch, Apple smartwatch, operates basically the same way as the Samsung ones, where you have to have an iPhone with it. It has to be connected to the iPhone, probably wirelessly.
Yep.
So yeah, that kind of makes sense. But I guess they just wanted to be able to link everything. So fuck it, the watch too.
Which makes sense. Although I will say the Samsung ones look a lot nicer.
Yeah, but people say they're too big. When you put them on your wrist, they're too big. With the
Which is
Apple
fair
ones,
enough.
they're sleeker and they look more like a watch, which people like.
Yeah, I will admit, I do like the look of the Apple Watch. Well, I didn't like it. I do like the look. I mean, because don't get me wrong, the Samsung one looked cool and stuff, but it looked like in my opinion, looked like a mini tablet on a strap on your wrist.
Yeah.
Whereas the Apple one looks very much like a hip, cool product, like all of Apple's do, where they have that special Apple look.
Yeah, that sleekness. Yeah.
Yeah, which doesn't mean that either one's better. I mean, like I said, ironically, I prefer Blackberries to iPhones, but I understand the hip mentality of the, oh, look how shiny all of the stuff the iPhone can do and all the razzle-dazzle, but...
Fair enough. And I will just say, in reference to your earlier comment, Conan O'Brien made that same joke. Like, yeah, then Apple unveiled the Apple Watch today. I mean, it'll do this, and that. When someone asked, will it also tell time? Apple creator's response was, oh shit.
Fair enough. And that's not the same joke, because I wasn't joking. I just want to watch to tell time. I just want a phone to call someone. That's not a joke.
Now, lastly, Apple also talked more about their credit card storing technology, whereby you can take a picture of your credit card with your iPhone, and Apple will verify and store it. And over to Jim for more details on that, because he can explain it far better.
Effectively, what it can do is it's sort of a dummy card service, if you will. The way it works is you can take your phone and take a picture of your card. Once you've done this, the program will read the picture and take the numbers and information from your card, your expiration, all that, and store it in a secure location. Then on your store it, and it will never share this. Instead, anytime at which you want to pay with your phone, the phone will automatically interface with the payment pad at the store, and it will create what is effectively a dummy number, a fake one-time use number that the machines agree upon that they will use to interact for this transaction, after which point the number is no longer valid. So even if a hacker could intercept that signal to get that number, it would be useless to them, because after that transaction, it would be null and void. So this is a way where the... let me see, what does it say here? Basically, it also requires fingerprint authentication, which also helps prevent others from using it if they happen to get a hold of your phone.
Yep. So it's to stop people stealing your phone and using your credit card. Yep. However, I still say, like when I saw this the first time before I mentioned it to you guys when we discussed it a while back when they first announced this, I don't get this. I know we keep making this comment and we sound old. I don't get this. It's to make sure it's more convenient for you to carry your phone, and so you can pay by whipping out your phone and stuff like that. It's more convenient. Who the fuck goes out the house without a wallet and possibly your phone? But why is it more convenient to pull out your phone, turn it on, press all the buttons and do that than it is to open up your wallet, pull out your card and go beep?
Well, it's not just convenience, it's also a lot more secure.
Also, I think it's also to do with having your credit card with you without having your credit card with you, because if you think about it, if you can just take pictures of your credit cards and store them on the phone, you could, I don't know, do that and then take your credit cards out of your wallet, toss them into, like, say, your safe deposit box, and never have to carry them with you, which means your wallet will be a lot lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it means your wallet.
I think that's what they're going for.
It'd be a little lighter because credit cards don't weigh that much, and I understand the convenience of you don't need your credit card anymore, now you just need your phone and something like that, but because if your credit card's stolen, and it's like, well, if your phone's stolen, you're going to have to phone up anyway, you're going to have to make calls to Apple, tell them it's stolen, tell them your card details are on there, possibly tell them your account numbers. If your card's stolen, what do? You phone up the bank and you cancel your card straight away. Boom, no charges get made.
Yes, but in this case, even if your phone is stolen, no one can use it because it requires a fingerprint scan.
It still seems
even if your phone is stolen,
convoluted.
Even if your phone is stolen, it's still secure. It's in such a way that you can have all your cards on one thing with you, and you don't have to worry about your information. You have to realize, I don't know if it's over there, but over here, there's been, like, in the last year, like 3 or 4 major hacks of retailers where people's credit card information got stolen and shit.
Yeah, there's been major hacks of stuff like that.
There's a recent one at Home Depot. The purpose of this is that if that hack were to occur now, that company would not have your credit card number. It only has that one-time fake number that you use, which is useless to hackers.
Yeah, like I said, I understand the principle. It just seems, like I said, it just seems more convoluted than what it's needed. It seems to me like an excuse for Apple to try and make your phone do more than what it's supposed to, and that's call people.
Well, most people have their phones out walking around in stores anyway, so all it is, app, scan, boop, there you go. Most people don't have to go through all the effort of pulling their phones out.
Yeah, I don't have to go too much trouble just going, oh, wallet, card, done.
Yeah.
Or, oh, wallet, cash.
Yeah, and it's mostly a big thing for the security because of how that's been such a problem over here. Because I don't know if you know, Mo, but there's a big difference between the cards over here and the cards over on your side of the pond.
Yeah, I know there's a big difference and stuff, but there's always other solutions. Like, for example, if Apple's done it with the thumbprint and stuff, couldn't the banks have just done that? Like, over here we have like a little chip that's in the card that reads loads of details, and you need to remember it to enter the PIN. They could just get that chip to remember your thumbprint, so you put it in, and when you do that, beep, it pays for it, and you enter your number.
Yeah, that would be cool. That basically be back to 2015 and Back to the Future too. But basically, that would be cool. They could do that, and they're also starting to upgrade the cards with the chips now, because the cards over here are still running on 1980s magnetic strips, which is why they're really fucking insecure. So there's a lot of commercials around from a lot of the retailers are starting it, and presumably the big companies will follow to upgrade all the cards to microchip technology to prevent these kind of major hacks and things. And I think it's a big worry about security and card security. And this is Apple saying, hey, we can help make your cards a little more secure so you don't have to have anything that exposes your cards, and we can make a little more money off you.
Yeah, but as you made the joke before, they are also the company that was hacked with loads of photos taken off them.
True, but in this case, as mentioned, they're not sending your card numbers to, not that I don't, I'd still would be wary about it, but you're not sending your card numbers to the cloud or anything. It's mentioned right here in the article with the Apple Pay.
It'd be all on your phone.
And, well, exactly. The way it works here is, where's that? It's on here. Apple Pay, where's it mentioned here somewhere? I just lost it. So there's a special chip in the iPhone itself that's called a secure element. Your account numbers are never sent to any Apple servers, and not even the retailer can see it. Instead, the proxy account numbers are generated for the retailer. So theoretically, it's locking this little chip on the phone that nothing can access. Whether that's true or not, we'll find out, but it's supposedly going to be that secure.
Yeah, which is supposedly true. However, look online. Every iPhone that comes out has hacks that unlock all the features. I don't see anyone I don't see it within a couple of years' time, no one being able to steal, say, the iPhone 6, hack it, and just be able to use that picture. Even with the function, just change the thumbprint digitally and stuff, how they normally unlock cards. Because they've already hacked the one where you have to use your thumbprint to unlock it. They've already hacked that crap.
Yeah, but it also mentions here that even if you lose your phone, not a problem, because it says right here, Apple has the handy iCloud Find My iPhone app that you can use to find your lost iPhone, and you will be able to now use that app to locate your iPhone wherever you lost it and wirelessly and remotely disable Apple Pay entirely so they can't get your shit.
Yeah, I'm just saying that they've done stuff like that before now, and every time hackers, when they've done the iPhones, have found a way around it.
Well, yes, you have to realize that will never stop, because it's a never-ending battle between the hackers trying to get around what the companies are bringing out, and the companies trying to make stronger shit that the hackers can't get into. It's a never-ending battle. Hackers will inevitably get into anything. You can't exactly cite that as a negative.
No, I would understand hackers will get into anything. However, every model of the iPhone has been hacked, and to the point where every teenager knows someone that knows how to hack and unlock their phone and do all the features, including the thumbprint ones.
But that's not just the iPhone. That's all.
Yeah, but I just see that being an issue. I just see that being more of an issue than your card. Because your card, all you have to do is phone. If your card goes missing, all you have to do is phone the bank who have your actual account and cancel it. If the Apple one, you have to pull this whole hoopla of going through the Wi-Fi things to cancel it. It just seems convoluted. Just the payment method. The other stuff looks cool. Like I said, like the watch looks cool, and the other thing looks cool. I just don't like the payment system.
It could be convoluted. However, if this convoluted payment system, if it protects even one person's identity, then it's worth it. Because once your account itself has been compromised, like your credit card account or whatever, it is a pain in the fucking ass to correct that shit. And if it saves even one person from having to go through that bullshit, then it's worth it.
That's not bullshit.
Because credit card companies and banks suck. And they don't. It's the reason why, at least over in this country, the companies have refused to switch over to microchip cards before now, even though they've been around for like 10 years. Because every time you swipe that little magnetic strip, they get a fee off that shit, and they don't want to lose those billions of dollars running in. So they're more than happy to leave your bank account information and your credit card information out there for hackers to steal, as long as they're making money.
See, like I said, I've lost my card. Turned out it was in here, but I lost my card, and I phoned up my bank, and they just said, "Okay, boom, your account's cancelled." 2 weeks later, I got a new card through the post. While I was in America, my friend also lost his card, his PayPal one. He phoned them up straight away. What they said to him on the phone was, "Yes, sir, Roger." Straight away, cancelled his card, and within a couple of weeks, he got a brand new one. That's not that messy.
Some companies are good about it, others are not. And that's as well as the card. But those cards also didn't have fraudulent charges on them. That's where the dickery comes in.
And I wasn't talking about losing the card. I'm talking about what if someone gets their hands on the information.
Yeah.
Because if they get their hands on the information, not the card itself, but the information, that's where you get into the mess of possible identity theft and stuff. And by the time you get around to or realize that that's happened, it's too late, and you have to go through the years of unraveling your life to try to get your life back. If this can deter or even outright stop that from happening to even one person, then it's totally worth it.
Oh yeah, and on the flip side, this can also cause it to happen to more people, as there's been stories of that happening from people who have hacked iPhones. I never managed to access all the emails, all their credit card information, and everything that was on their Apple iTunes accounts and all that stuff. And we've had that over here. And it's like, yeah, so it could make it much worse.
And that's why Apple just said you can disable your shit. If you lose your phone, you can disable your shit wirelessly with the iCloud Find My iPhone feature.
Yeah, which is why I mentioned it was more convoluted, because you have to go through a whole extra process.
Yeah, the difference is that's one process as opposed to calling a half a dozen credit card companies and banks.
Or one credit card and company and bank. You only need one credit card. If you've got multiple, chances are you realize you're in debt and you're just taking money from one to pay the other, and that's never a good idea, and you need to be more responsible with your money.
Or you're like me, and I have a personal credit card, and I have the credit card for the company.
Okay, so you have two.
Fair enough. Anyway.
And I'm guessing if you were going shopping for you probably wouldn't take your business credit card with you. You'd take your personal one and leave the business one at home.
I have them both in my wallet.
Mm-hmm. Now, and in the other response to, people would have their phone instead of their credit cards, again, as someone who's worked in retail, you'd be surprised at how many times people come in and look in their wallets and realize, I don't have my credit card with me.
That is true, too. I can vouch for that.
Yeah, and how many times do you see people go to make a call and go, oh, crap, I don't have my phone on me?
A lot less than people saying I don't have money.
Because these are the people that walk up on their iPhones and then they reach in their wallet to get their credit card and they don't have the damn thing.
Yeah, I've seen loads of people go like, oh yeah, I'm just going to what time is it? And they go to check their phone and go, oh shit, I don't have my phone.
Alright.
Which is still stupid because you watch.
I think we've gone off enough on this topic. I will just mention, if anybody's interesting, to start with your new Apple Pay feature, you will be able to use it at McDonald's, Whole Foods, Toys R Us, and Babies R Us. Petco, Macy's, Walgreens, the Disney Store, and all Disney sales locations within their parks. At Nike stores, Apple stores, of course, Staples, Subway sandwiches, Panera Bread, and Sephora. So you can use your thing there. In addition, Apple is planning about signing more retailers by the end of the year, and they've struck agreements with all the major payment processors to make sure your cards can work with it, including cards from Bank of America, Citi, Capital One, Wells Fargo, Chase, American Express, Barclays, U.S. Bank, the Navy Federal Credit Union, the USAA, and PNC. And Apple is estimating that a total of 83% of all possible credit card purchases will be compatible with their service.
Why make these agreements with the banks? They don't do the credit cards. You would want to make an agreement with Visa, MasterCard, stuff like that. Because they're the ones that process that and hold your credit card account information. Because that's independent of the bank. It's tied to the bank account, but the account itself is independent of the bank.
Yeah, but they've mentioned that they have struck agreements with all the major payment processors such as Visa, MasterCard, and American Express, and that these are all the banks that those companies manage that you will be able to use.
Fair enough.
Yeah, plus a load of cards, like say a debit card, is tied to your actual bank account.
Yeah,
that's true.
I much prefer debit cards to credit cards because credit cards are a quick way to get debt fast.
And if you have your iPhone and you want to get this, whether you have the 6 or not, you can get it in 2 days on September 17th when iOS 8 update launches, and it'll be available with the update.
Correct. And on to the mole. If he has anything else.
I had one bit of news, but I was going to say, and this isn't... But basically, they're trying to reboot a load of sitcoms and stuff recently.
Yes.
Well, basically, THR is reporting that a spin-off series for Married with Children is currently in the works, which would focus on Bud Bundy's character. Pardon me. As of right now, it's not known whether or not any of the original cast members who have remained busy on other TV shows and movie projects, will return for an appearance on the series. However, they did go on record, apparently they went on record as saying that it's a definite wish possibility and that those potential guest spots would be a big factor. So yeah, Married with Children. Spin-off.
Love and Marriage.
Yep.
Jim is singing in silence.
I thought that was on. Sorry. Together like a horse and carriage. Anyway.
Yeah, I have to wonder if they would use the same theme song or if they're going to write something new that's not going to be anywhere near as good as that one.
Actually, I think they would use the original theme song, but just having the Bud Bundy actor singing it instead of Ed O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill who actually sang it?
Yes.
Yeah, and I could see him going with a completely different song, just because I know that's what Girl Meets World did, so I'm not sure if that's what they're all going to start doing, because they're basically finding a way to remake the exact same show, but keep it in continuity for people.
When this
So
girl
they want a new theme song that new audiences would find cool, not what the old audiences would.
True.
Because we tune in for the guest characters and stuff. It's like, okay.
True.
They're making too many of these.
Or some shows will go the other way and they'll try to bring back nostalgia by reusing the original theme song with slight edits repeatedly to the point that people get sick of it.
Yeah.
I assume we know what I'm referencing with that, so let's move on.
I knew what you were referencing, but that was a really piss-poor example, as that wasn't a show that had been brought back after years of hiatus.
True. Anyway.
Speak of watching this New Yorker.
Anyway. Next up on the list, we have an announcement from the good people at The Simpsons that on the next Treehouse of Horror, The Simpsons will meet The Simpsons. That's right. The Simpsons, as we know them, will meet up with the original versions of themselves as they were first drawn on the Tracy Ullman Show in 1987. The show's been dipping into a lot of crossovers lately with the Lego episode, the Family Guy crossover, and the Futurama crossover. This year's Halloween special will include segments parodying the 2001 Nicole Kidman movie The Others, and the idea is that the current Simpsons are being haunted by the earlier versions of themselves. So there you go.
Sounds pretty cool, and I like the Treehouse of Horror episodes. I'll admit they've not been as good after, like, number 4.
Yeah.
And that's not because the series was downhill after number 4 either. It was just they changed the tone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they mentioned it'll be fun to see. It'll be the most elaborate and lengthy revival that we've seen of the originals, in which the Simpsons cast members, Dan Castellaneta, Nancy Cartwright, Yeardley Smith, Julie Kavner, will summon their original voices for the characters that they used originally before they became the voices we know and love today.
If they can remember those voices.
I'm sure they can, because all they got to do is go back and watch the tapes, and they'll probably be able to try and do it and figure it out.
Yep.
Fair enough. Well, I don't have anything more, so, Mole, you got anything else?
Nope, that was my 3.
Well, then
Jim, you got anything else?
I'm going to wrap it up with This Week in Hollywood Dickery.
Go for it.
Because famous people suck. Or rather, famous people suck and other people suck in dealing with famous people. I'm gonna do the latter first because I want to end. There's one I want to end on particularly. So first things first. There's a lot of bad things happen to celebrities. A lot of times celebrities are out on the street. They'll get accosted by fans or from the paparazzi. I mean, any number of things that might happen. What normally doesn't happen to a street, if I can get this link to open, is normally celebrities on the street are not arrested by the cops because they're mistaken for a hooker.
And this is why I write notes instead of, keep links.
That's what I've been saying.
I can just get it to function properly.
And I would argue that paparazzi are much worse. After all, they did kill our princess.
That is true.
And now, Jim, you know why I took a half an hour before this recording to actually read the article and write notes.
And delayed us greatly. And for that, we hate you.
Like you're not delaying us right now.
Less than you were. All I'm going to do is scroll through here. I'm going to find the article, which is right down here. One more. Where is it?
There's yours has been recorded and really hurts.
There we go.
The overall feel of the video.
Yeah, okay. So, actress Danielle Watt, known for her roles in the movie Django Unchained and the television series Weeds, was wearing a t-shirt, shorts, and running shoes when she was headed down the street in Los Angeles. When basically she was hanging out with her partner Brian James Lucas, who, if you don't know entirely sure how this looks, Danielle Watt is a rather young African American woman, and she was hanging out with her boyfriend, who happens to be an older looking white dude. And basically, she was sitting on his lap, and they were hanging out in L.A. when apparently the cops showed up. Or someone asked them to stop putting on a show, and a few minutes later the cops pulled up, asked them for ID. Watts refused, saying they weren't doing anything wrong, and they handcuffed her and put her in the back of the car, and accused her of being a hooker, which the cops are denying they called her a hooker. And she's saying that they saw, and I quote from Ms. Watts, "From the questions that he asked me, I could tell that whoever called on us, including the officers, saw a tatted rocker, white boy, and a hot booty shorted black girl and thought we were a hoe and a trick. Eventually, she did provide ID and they let her go." So, yes, nice job making assumptions and profiling people cops of L.A.
To be fair, isn't that her fault?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. To be fair, they asked her for ID and she refused. They did their job, which was, I'm sorry, it's profiling as it may be. If you see older white dude and hot black chick, and they're refusing to give ID in LA, hello.
To be fair,
She kind of did that
True,
herself.
but if they're just sitting in public and they have not, and basically if they're not going to outright accuse you of a crime or say this is what I'm arresting you for, you have a right to refuse. You have the Fifth Amendment. You have a right to refuse anything that they want.
yeah, you have the right to refuse anything. However, two things. One, you mentioned she said whoever called the police on us. Therefore, the police were responding to a call. The police who showed up, they asked her for ID. She refused to give ID. That makes her look more suspicious, so they take her downtown because they were called. They were doing their jobs. I don't see any dickery here besides the fact the police showed up. They asked someone for ID. They didn't give them ID, so the police did their job.
Although the dickery I see is the fact that her supposed boyfriend did fuck all. I mean, the whole thing could have been diffused if he'd have just stood up and said, "Get your hands off my girlfriend." Because if the cops had any brains, at that point they would turn around and be like, "Wait, girlfriend?"
Well, it says right here she wasn't breaking any laws by refusing to show ID. California has no law that requires people to show police their ID if they're just walking down the street.
We weren't saying she was breaking laws, Jim. We were saying the fact they got a call for her and they asked for ID, she didn't present ID and she wasn't walking down the street. According to what you said, she was making out with someone on a bench. That's not walking down the street, and also they got a call. They asked for ID. Yeah, she didn't have to give ID, but the fact the police wanted to know who she was, she could have just gone, "Okay, here you go," and showed it. Because normally people who refuse to give their ID in a situation like that, when the police have been called on them, have something to hide.
Yeah. And the police can only act on what they have heard and what they have seen, and they can't, especially in LA, they can't take chances. And since she refused to give ID, the only thing they could do was bring her down for questioning, because it's like, okay, we're on this call. She's not giving us ID. We don't know if she's a hooker or not, but we can't take that chance. And like I said, the dickery here, in my opinion, is her dick boyfriend, who, from what the reports said, according to you, I didn't hear anything about him standing up and saying, yeah, she's my girlfriend. That's why we're making out.
So wait a minute, what you're saying, Margaret, is that we can't take the chance that she's a hooker, so she's guilty until she proves herself innocent? That's the opposite of the way the laws in our country work, or so I was led to believe.
To be fair, you may be guilty till proven innocent, but how can you be proven innocent if they don't even give you the ID to look over and see that they are innocent, thus proving they're innocent?
Yeah, if anything, her actions proved that she was guilty until she proved otherwise.
I think cops need to stop making assumptions, because as it's mentioned here, similar situation, the United Nations first woman Under-Secretary General, Dame Margaret Anstey, claims she was mistaken for a prostitute often enough to grow accustomed to the accusations. And in 2008, the parents of a 12-year-old girl in Texas claimed that 3 police officers arrested and beat her after mistaking her for a prostitute. So maybe cops need to stop assuming people are hookers.
Yeah, and the police didn't take ID and let someone go after he tried to blow up the Twin Towers in the 90s, and that little guy turned out to be Bin Laden.
I'm not saying the cops are perfect. They're going to make mistakes, but when it's the same mistake repeatedly, somebody needs to look at the policies. All I'm saying.
Yeah,
but anyway,
we weren't talking about all the cases. We were just talking about this one. In this case, it looks like they just did their job. They were called, from what she said. They responded to said call. They asked for ID to prove whether or not it's innocent. She refused because she's like, "Fuck that! I'm above the law, or I'm above you guys. I'm not going to help you out. Fuck you guys." Of course, they're going to take her in for questioning.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you mentioned you work in retail, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a call from the security that I'm out to go speak to this guy because he was acting suspiciously with his bag, and you went over to him and you said, "Hey, what's in the bag?" and he turned around and said, "Fuck off, I don't have to show you this," and then started to act more secure and more secretive towards his bag, what's going to happen?
Well, like I said, number one, we don't do that. The loss prevention does that. Number two, they're not allowed to go up and do that. No, I'm just saying, number one, we don't do that. Loss prevention does. Number two, per the rules, because of the way the law works, we're not allowed to go up to them and do that unless we suspect if we suspect there's something in their bag. We have to wait until they try to walk out the door before we can stop and do anything about it. Because until that point in time, it's not shoplifting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like I said, the fact you paused and were like, and then answered means you were just trying to look for a way other than to say we would want to see what's in their bag more because they're acting suspicious.
Well, yes, but it depends on the bag also. But anyway. Moving on to the second piece of here. That aside, let's move on to somebody we can all agree is a dick. Let's move on and talk a little bit about Kanye West.
I heard about this.
Oh dear.
So, Kanye West, whether he was an asshole intentionally or not, is still unclear. But here's what happened. So Kanye West was hosting a concert in Sydney, Australia, on Friday.
Okay.
And he got the entire audience on their feet to, wave their hands around and dance around with his songs and whatnot. And he stopped the show before he started the first song. He came out, told everybody to stand up to start the show, and he wouldn't start the show saying, "I can't do this show until everybody stand up. Unless you got a handicap pass, you get special parking and shit." And the audience stood up and everything and was standing up. And there were two people that were not standing up. And Kanye apparently got upset by this and would not start the show. And he was like, "This is the longest I've had to wait to do a song. It's unbelievable." And basically one of the two people didn't stand up. One of them was in a wheelchair, and the other had a prosthetic leg. And Kanye was not only, even though word came up through the crowd that there's handicapped people, he still would not start the show until he had his bodyguard physically make his way over to those two audience members to confirm that they were in fact handicapped and could not stand up.
Wow.
I mean, afterwards, I'm assuming afterwards, Kanye West, being the glowing example of citizenship and morals that he is, publicly apologized to those two, paid for their tickets, reimbursed them, and went out of his way to make them feel welcomed. Am I right?
No. If only.
Oh, he didn't do that. He didn't do his normal charming self. I'm shocked.
I'm surprised he doesn't have a pending lawsuit for discrimination.
You would think. Although, interestingly, it does mention that despite that, it is worth noting that at a concert back in July, Kanye did send a gift to one Elliot Briones, a fan at the show, when he noticed that the boy was in a wheelchair and had a hard time seeing the stage. So, I don't know. But apparently this one, he was kind of a dick. So,
yeah, I'm gonna say I don't think he knew they were handicapped and was still like, no, I'm not gonna do the show and stuff, and then decided to eventually do it. Yes, I think he thought they were faking, and when all word spread, he probably thought, wait, are they actually? Is the word actually right? And went to check. However, that's still dickish. Why the fuck should everyone stand up for you? You're not the president of the United States.
Yeah.
As I learnt in The West Wing, when Charlie Sheen's dad said, "When the president stands, no one sits."
Yep.
He's not the president of the United States. Can't believe I made the West Wing reference, but still, he's not the president of the United States. People shouldn't inherently stand for him. Although when I heard the story of he found out they were handicapped and still kept trying to make them stand, as someone said, I was like, wait, what? And part of me thought Kanye West now can officially reach levels of such a messiah complex that he actually believes he could make them walk. He actually believes he's Jesus and he could perform a miracle.
He can cure the handicap. Yeah.
Hi, people, that's cool and all. I'm going to let you finish, but Stephen Hawking is the greatest cripple of all time. All time.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell me he at least did that.
No. But I heard he did call his wife to make sure she wasn't a hobbit.
Huh?
It's a South Park joke.
It is. Because he's a gay fish.
Yes. Making love to the gay fish. Anyway, that's it for the news. Back to Marcus Shadow to start off the catch-up.
Yes, now that we've rambled on and on and on for an hour and a half. Thank you. Let's talk about shit we did this week. For the most part, I played a new game that I picked up, Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. That game is awesome. Yes. It is a partnership work between Level 5 and Capcom. Both companies had hands in all aspects of the game, from the music to the story to the game design, all that good stuff. And it shows. It is a fantastic game. So if you're a fan of Professor Layton or Phoenix Wright, go ahead and get it now. Get it now!
Even if you're not a fan, go get it. It sounded like an awesome game. I never played either franchise.
It is an awesome game. I do have one large complaint about it, but I will probably go into that when I do my inevitable review of this game, because I do want to review this game.
Let's see how to review the game.
I have to check with the others, because I'm pretty sure Stacy may want to.
No, we could do it together if she
crossover.
Maybe. Depends on when she plans to get it. But yes, that game is awesome. So I love that game. And I did beat the game, so. I also went back the other day and started playing Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds again, because I did start a second game in that after I beat it the first time. And so I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to go play this for a little bit. And that game is still fun. I love that game. And let's see, what else have I done? I've played more STO. I played that with you the other day, Jim. And STO is still fun, still awesome. Still watching TV.
Awesome.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, Cooking Channel,
Everything
HGTV,
is better when you're part of the team.
Yeah, DIY Network. Trying to remember, there was something else. Oh, shoot, I can't remember. I'll remember it later. Go on, Mo.
DIY Network and the Cooking Network, so you can put up your own spice rack and use the spices effectively.
Damn right.
But yeah, I haven't done too much this week. I'm just going to start with, I've caught up with the first 10 thanks to Netflix, and purchased a little something this week to do with it too of Badung.
Nice. Gokai change.
Because
nice.
And no, this has
Wait
nothing
for
to do
it.
with Gokai.
Nice.
Yep. And I do plan to be reviewing this sometime in the next couple of weeks with Mr. Jim Phoenix. We will be reviewing this and talk about the ups and downs of this particular toy.
Indeed.
Also plan to
over
get
there.
together with the others and review groups of episodes of Megaforce, but I'm currently up to episode 10, which is the one after Silver Ranger gets stupid, ridiculous face all over him.
Mm-hmm. The episode after Power of 6. That would be
Perfect Storm.
Perfect Storm.
Perfect
Yes,
Storm,
you're actually caught up with us. You're on the same episode.
Which, yeah, it's so disappointed by Perfect Storm.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking happy by Perfect Storm. So disappointed. No Ninja Storm. So fucking happy. Tensu got his own episode. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say in case people haven't seen it, so I don't spoil it too much. But when I saw Perfect Storm, I expected Ninja Storm, and that's what everyone kept saying was going to happen.
Well, that's what we suspected, and we were all wrong. So there you go. Lol, dirt sheets of the internet were wrong.
Yep. But no. Also this week, and I think it was last week as well, but last week I think it started back up. 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown is back.
Ah.
I know no one probably knows what that is. To put this in other terms, 8 out of 10 Cats is a panel show where a group of celebrities sit down, and we've got 2 hosts on each team, and they talk about the topics of the week in terms of what's gone on in the news and what people are discussing, and they do jokes and they throw around stuff like that and see who gets the most points. Okay. 8 out of 10, and it's like really, it's sort of like a comedy for everyone, because any intelligence can laugh at something on that show.
Mm-hmm.
Countdown. It's about putting up like loads of letters and people have to spell out a word, or they put up loads of numbers and then they put a total at the top and you have to try and make as close to that number as you can using the existing numbers. And it's a really intelligent show with basically it's famous for being watched more by old people. I used to love it back in the day with Richard Whiteley, may he rest in peace, and Carol Vorderman, who's sadly moved on since. But they got Rachel Riley's pretty cool. So they've combined both shows. It's the Countdown show, played by the 8 out of 10 Cats comedians and celebrities and stuff in a hilarious way.
Nice.
It's
that
awesome.
Sounds funny.
It is. It's funny as hell. And it's just awesome. Like for example, you see like Rachel Riley, as she's called, the woman she's great with numbers, and she does like all her numbers and stuff. And you see her do the numbers, and you see her put the things up. But now you see her interact and do more banter and stuff with people, which is cool. And Dictionary Corner, where people look up some of the words and they have fun, and it's just a great show. It's pretty cool. It's back on. So I was pretty happy to see that back on.
So Fusion, ha!
Yeah, they did it once, a special of take 8 out of 10 Cats, let them do Countdown as a little special for, I think it was Children in Need or something like that they did it.
Yeah.
Or Comic Relief, it was one of the two. They did it for overwhelmingly popular to the point this is like its 4th season of the spin-off, which they used to fill the gap in between the seasons of 8 out of 9 Cats.
There you go.
Or I say 8 out of 10 Cats, which I like that show. That was pretty cool. And
so if it's a show for old people, you should send a link to some online episodes over to Marcus.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's also perfect for book virgins like yourself.
Is the show recommended by 8 out of 10 actual cats?
No, it's called 8 out of 10 Cats because the way the show works is there'll be like, and I am aware by the way that you're joking, but the reason it's called 8 out of 10 Cats is because the show is something like what percentage of our studio audience said they wanted this as opposed to wanting this, and the celebrities and stuff try and figure out how they would have gone, and sometimes it's surprising, sometimes it's obvious and stuff, which it's kind of pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I've also been watching Dollhouse. Pretty cool show. It as like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started off great because it was written by Joss Whedon. As the series went on, not quite as good as the pilot and stuff, and not quite as good as the part written by Joss Whedon because it's written by his brother. It's still pretty cool. I'm enjoying Dollhouse. I know it was cancelled, but I'm looking forward to it because I know it actually gets a finale, so I'm looking forward to watching that. It's a great concept and a great show. It's basically, if you've not seen it, Jim, I mentioned it to Marcus the other day, basically there's these women and guys, and they're called dolls, and basically people wipe their personality, put a new personality into them, making them a new person to fulfill fantasies or jobs for huge sums of money. So one week you can get them going and being like a fake girlfriend to someone who just wants to like put a bit of arm candy on him as he drives his motorbike and shows off. But then the other week you may get someone hiring them to do a bank job, or you may get someone hiring them to actually spy and stuff like that. It's pretty fun, pretty
cool.
clever. Yeah, it's great. It's a great concept.
Starring Eliza Dushku.
Yep, starring Eliza Dushku. And they continued for, and I know this is slight spoilers for myself included. Well, not so, you know what I mean. I already know this, but I'm before this, if that makes sense. The series ends, and because I checked to make sure I had a final, because that pissed me off and not cliffhanger. The final is set like years into the future, just so they could wrap up the stories and see how it evolved and where they wanted it to go.
Nice.
Then they've gone back recently and they've done comics that are set in between the episodes before the final and leading into the future. So that's pretty cool. You totally check it out now.
Nice.
Over to Jim for, I believe it's Kingdom Keepers?
In a moment. First thing I want to mention, I don't have it here because I had to bring it back.
Jim's done.
Fuck off, Marcus.
I'm just going to say, boo! Kingdom Keepers! Kingdom Keepers! Kingdom Keepers!
Alright, hang on. So, first of all,
I'm done now.
Yeah, I did get the DVD of Revolution.
Nice.
Which I guess was season 2, the final season. I'd already seen the episodes, but I watched through some of the deleted scenes, the gag reel. They had the 2013 Comic-Con panel on there, which was hilarious. And just seeing how great these actors all interact with each other. It's just such a shame that the show's canceled. But I'm hoping that maybe another network or maybe Netflix or something will pick it up because it really was a great show. And well, I understand why there was some issues with the way it was going in the twin plots. I think they could easily bring it back around and make it good again, given the opportunity. So I'm hoping it comes back.
I thought you mentioned one of the reasons it was cancelled was the network put on a stupid day.
That too it was on Monday night. It was right after The Voice. It had a great lead and it had huge ratings. Then they put it on 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. It's like, okay. So it
Now
had
that you own the entire series, will you be doing a review of it?
I rented it. I do not own it, but yes.
Oh.
At some
Well,
point.
I will say Wednesdays is a great day for shows. Totally check out XGR.
Ah, I see what you did there.
Which means you get to watch the show on DVD from season 1 and go through it and watch all of season 2 again and experience how much you loved the show and then have the crushing realization it was cancelled all over again.
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of things that crush people, I'm going to go ahead and crush Mole again. It's still got a sticker on it.
That's
Anyway.
fine. I've gotten over your ability to be a normal human being.
I've been playing more Lego Harry Potter Years 1 through 4. I'm about halfway done. I finished year 2. Finished Chamber of Secrets. Pretty fun so far. I like unlocking the characters, how they change up the events a little bit to make it a little more fun for Lego. But you still get to act through all the events, play as the different characters. It's a lot of fun. I'm hoping to get through the rest of the remaining 2 years here and get to go out to the free play and unlock the stuff I couldn't get because I needed more spells and things. So really a lot of fun. Do check it out. I also have years 5 through 7 over there. I'll be checking that out after this.
And as people like that game, I think it'd be kind of cool if they actually made a Harry Potter Lego game with a brand new story and some voice acting like they did for the Batman ones.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
But it could just be an alternate world.
Yeah.
I was going to ask Jim, what's your opinion, since you've started with Lego Batman 2, what is your opinion now of the Lego games without voices?
And also
It's still fun. Yeah, it's still funny. I mean, a lot of the things that they're gesturing to each other, they got a picture of a dude on a wall, to indicate something. I mean, that's pretty, like, there was the scene in Hagrid's hut where they come to arrest Hagrid and Dumbledore and charge him because of the monster. And they're arresting Hagrid, and they come and he has a scroll, and he just draws it, just got a picture of Hagrid's face on it. Like, that's funny.
That's exactly, that's how they used to do it before voices, to the point where Lego Star Wars, the original trilogy, Vader tells Luke he's his dad by pulling up a photo of him and his mother together with Luke as a baby and points at it like, that's me.
Nice.
It's like, really? You're just carrying that around, are you?
Family portrait.
Just for this.
Yes. So, Jim, which do you think is better for the Lego games, voices or no voices?
I gotta be honest, I think the voices helped it. I really do. As much as the no voices is fun, it's funny with a lot of those little jokes, and that is a lot of fun to see. I feel like having the voices really helped me immerse more in the game and help me feel more of what was going on and feel more a part of the game. Whereas this is cool, but it's really easy to to tune out of it because you got to pay really close attention. Like, oh, what's this doing? What does this mean? Oh, that's what they're doing. Okay, to see what's going on. So, I think they both have equal value in either way, and I think if they could do a mix of the two, it would be really fun. But both versions are pretty fun. I like it.
Yeah, I like I like the fact you can see if you played from the beginning up till the end of the Lego games, you can see them evolve and stuff. And
yeah.
I agree with Jim. I personally prefer the voices only because I like the slapstick nature of the Lego games. One of the reasons they wanted to do voices was, ironically, sort of what me and Jim talked about then, where Jim's like, oh, and he pulled out a funny picture and it's hilarious. But it's funny to reveal something. Same thing they did in the Lego Star Wars game. There's only so many ways you can do the slapstick, whereas now they can do all the slapstick still, because they still do a load, and they have all the voices. And I'm like, Joe going, you're not sorry at all, is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Plus now they can release them separately on a DVD and make people like me buy it again, just to have it as a film.
Yeah. If they do original voice work and do it right, Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It's better like with the Lego Batman stuff.
Yeah.
Unlike what they did with Lego Lord of the Rings, if you ever bothered to check that out, Jim, because I know you've seen the movies. Yeah, they royally fucked the hell out of that.
I don't
You
know.
mean something to do with the Lord of the Rings? Picking and choosing and slicing up what parts of the original source material and making a complete incoherent mess, which is completely shitting all over the original? What?
Yeah.
Pro book. I just needed to make that joke. I'm sorry. Like I've said, I hated the film. I didn't like them compared to the books, but I know Marcus did like the films. And it's cool. I respect his ability
He
to
did,
like
he
the
did.
films. Not his
Fair
ability,
enough.
his right to like the film.
Ability to like the films.
Yeah, he had an ability. His special
It's a
ability
special-
to watch shit and go, I like
Well,
it.
Marcus is special.
It's my ability called movie reviewer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Yeah,
Well-
I don't like that ability. Your ability to watch complete crap to fund studios like Warner Brothers, so we can get the decent movies like Batman v Superman.
2016.
And I'm kidding, because it's all personal preference. Like I said, I just didn't like it because of the changes in the book.
Which
Right.
I can understand.
Not because it's a fucking horrible film. I mean,
You know. Right.
it's not the worst
Yeah,
film
it's-
I've seen, even this week, which I didn't bring up for catch-up.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's the same reason why I hate the movie Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. They completely raped that book 10 Ways from Sunday. It's not a horrible film. It's
That's
just
a
they
nasty
raped
paper
the book
cut.
10 Ways from Sunday.
That's a nasty
That-
paper cut.
Oof.
And FYI, raping the Harry Potter books is totally what Jim did in the library in his off time.
No. No.
He lit
No.
some candles,
No. No.
played I
No.
Will Now Rise from the Ashes, came out in like a Ric Flair robe to seduce the books.
Anyway, like I was saying, since Bull asked for it, yeah, dropping. Times 3, bitches! Times 3!
Welcome to the Literary Hour with James Phoenix. I'm going to go take a nap now.
Yeah, fuck off. So yes, I have the remaining 3 books of the Kingdom Keeper series here, including the one I'm...
books, and he's extremely camp. It's his reading rainbow.
Reading Rainbow, Reading Rainbow.
Because rainbow.
Hey,
is
that
the
show is awesome.
That show is awesome.
Yeah,
Anyway,
rainbow is the logo of gay rights. So yay.
it is.
Which we
Anyway.
totally support. Hi, Simon.
Anyway,
Hi, Simon.
and hi, Ultimate Mikey. Don't discriminate against Mikey.
Mikey watches our schlock.
Yeah, I didn't think Mikey would watch our stuff.
Okay, fair
He
enough.
still hasn't forgiven you for Trivial Pursuit.
Ha. Anyway, I'm currently
I
reading
haven't
book number.
forgiven you either.
Yeah, I'm currently reading book number 5 in the series. It is called Shell Game. As you can see, that is Ursula right there from Little Mermaid in the background. This is the first book that's taking place on a Disney cruise ship, being the location that the holographic kids are in this time. I have the last 2 here as well, which I'll get to once those are done. They include book number 6, Dark Passage. If you can't tell, that is Tia Dalma from the Pirates of the Caribbean series, right there. Again, more on the cruise ship as they sail down to the Panama Canal and inevitably end up at the finale of the series in Book 7, The Insider. That's the Evil Queen, and yes, that is Disneyland burning. So, that's where we're going to end up. We will get there. I'll talk about those when I get to them. Right now, this week, I am working on this one. I just started it. I will mention I did finish. In almost a day, I read the one before this, book 4. I don't still have it. I brought it back. But book 4 was... Book 4 is also... Inside joke for the X-Pound. Anyway, book 4 was all about the fact that they introduced a lot of new Disney villains and characters in that book. I think that's the point where the author went, we've been to Disney parks. I haven't introduced a lot of people. I should rectify that. Here's everybody. Of course, at the end of the third book, the leaders of the Overtakers, Maleficent and Chernabog, were captured and imprisoned in a Disney prison because they have that. And so the evil queen of Snow White takes over leadership of the Overtakers and reorganizes. And she seems a lot more powerful than Maleficent. I don't know why the fuck she's not the one in charge, but anyway.
And based on what actually happens in this book, apparently Disney Prison is Arkham Asylum. But how easy it is to break out of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would also assume they've already fought or beat Maleficent.
Yes.
In which case, the reason she's more powerful is because when Maleficent comes back, she will be even more powerful because a sequel always needs the villain to be more powerful to top its previous predecessor,
True.
which always makes you raise questions like, why the fuck aren't you in charge?
Right. Well, that's again, that's like I said, at the end of the last book, there was a jailbreak where Maleficent and Chernabog transfigured themselves into people, and they took out a couple of security guards and took their uniforms, while at the same time, during a blackout that the evil queen caused out at the Disney-owned power station, which is a real thing, Disney World and the parks have their own power plant to power the parks. They caused a blackout and replaced them with DHI holograms of the villains that were being projected through the security cameras, until Finn, the leader of the Kingdom Keepers, got there and told their mentor Wayne that, hey, they're not real, they're breaking out. But they didn't stop them in time, and they got away. So as this book starts off, Maleficent and Chernabog are back in charge, and we see Maleficent and Evil Queen working together, which is even more frightening. And Cruella de Vil's hanging out with them because she knows the modern world and how that shit works.
Nice.
And we also see some scenes in the last book of Judge Claude Frollo of Hunchback of Notre Dame running around with an army of green army men from Toy Story who are for some reason evil and working for him. I don't know why. So that was random. And there's a lot of adventure. We also learned that the good Disney characters do in fact exist. We see the character of Willie get saved by Ariel, who, when the park is closed and she's not being watched, can transform between her mermaid and human forms at will. And there's a funny little joke where they reference the fact that when she does the human transformation, she's kind of naked from the waist down, but she keeps a bikini bottom strapped to the under her hair to the back of her shell top, so she can whip it out and put it on when she becomes human. So he covered that. Anyway, Ariel shows up and explains, we're willing to help you and everything, but we're kind of disorganized right now. There's not a lot of cohesion between the Disney characters. And she mentions that her own beloved Prince Eric, while she is in the Disney studios in an Ariel grotto thing, the actual Prince Eric is stuck in the Magic Kingdom, and he's part of the stage show that happens in front of the castle over there. So the characters are a little scattered, a little not unified. There's also a point where they get saved by Mulan and some archers after we see a couple of villains. At one point, we see Jafar show up and turn into a snake, and he's not working with the others. He just wants power for himself because he's Jafar, and they manage to get away from him. And Shan Yu shows up with his Hun army and is like, I want glory to beat you in war. Tell your emperor to send his strongest armies. And they get away from him. Mulan saves them from him, and they get away. And a little later on in the book, in one of the biggest cameos, is Finn and Amanda, one of the ones that, not original Kingdom Keeper, but became a Kingdom Keeper. They actually work with Minnie and Pluto to try to sneak into the Overtaker's lair, which is on Tom Sawyer Island. And it's interesting to note Minnie does not talk, so I don't know if the real Minnie and Mickey just don't have voices or what, but she doesn't talk. But anyway, but Pluto does bark. And they find the Overtaker's hideout and realize there's a lot more Overtakers than they knew about. And they see all like Prince John from Robin Hood and the villain from that Black Cauldron movie that nobody saw. They've got they see all these different villains down there, and they realize that they're kind of unifying for some big event. And the event was the breakout of Maleficent and Chernabog, which they succeeded in. And so they know that their forces are a lot bigger, and they start realizing we need to unify the characters against them, or our forces, there's only 7 of us, plus Wayne and his daughter, we're going to get overwhelmed. And they have a meeting at the end of the book where Ariel says, look, the characters are willing to help. We've all talked, we're willing to help. It's just that we don't have a leader. We're not unified. And at first, the Kingdom Keepers are like, they were thinking that they were sent there to lead, and Ariel's like, well, no. I mean, we respect you guys as being one of us and being part of our thing, but we only have one leader, and he's been missing for a long time, and we don't know where he went. That being Mickey. And apparently he's been missing for several years. There's a Mickey House exhibit in the park, and apparently at one point there was a lot of noise coming out of there, and Mickey disappeared, and the house was kind of shut down, and nobody has seen Mickey since. So nobody knows if he's alive, if he just went on some kind of journey, if he was kidnapped. Nobody knows where the hell Mickey is. And until they get Mickey back, the characters aren't going to be able to unite to form a force against the Overtakers. So in addition to the Kingdom Keepers continuing to fight the Overtakers to do their job, there now is a secondary journey to try to find out what the hell happened to Mickey and get him back to unite the characters so they have their equal forces to the Overtakers.
Nice.
And like I said, in this one, another new Overtaker, Ursula, will be coming to join the party here at some point. So
Nice. I would say, what is up with stuff like this and Kingdom Hearts with always having to start off with Mickey Mouse being kidnapped? Come on! Leave him alone!
No. In Kingdom Hearts, Mickey wasn't kidnapped. He went off on a journey to stop the darkness.
Yeah, but it was implied he never came back, and therefore the darkness had him. Which it did.
Yeah, it was just implied that he was off doing something and they were going to go try to find him, but he turned out he was okay. He was in Kingdom Hearts the whole time.
Yeah, which it was a little weird, but yeah. Second thing is, did they actually do the thing I've been wanting with something like Kingdom Hearts and when they do these crossovers?
What thing is that?
Have we actually seen them since they want to team up and stuff? Have we seen like Scar team up with Kovu's mother? Because I kind of want to see some of the sequel villains team up with the existing villains, because that'd be kind of cool to see them actually meet the original villains.
That would be interesting. I haven't seen any Lion King villains yet. The only animal villains we've seen so far, aside from the animals in the Animal Kingdom that Maleficent enchanted to attack them,
I was using as an example as, like I said, it could have been like Lion King. You could have had you could have had Jafar meet up with the guy who was the villain in The Prince of All Thieves.
That was Aladdin's dad, though. He was kind of a good guy. But you mean but Saluk? Yeah, that would have been interesting. Jafar and Saluk, that'd be a formidable force.
Yeah, you see what I mean? I just wanted someone from the original film and the sequel film to just meet up and team up. I think that'd be kind of cool for these.
Yeah, I got you. So far, they haven't had any sequel villains yet. It's just been original villains. Although for animals, they did recently have the fox and the cat from Pinocchio show up.
Nice.
So they just showed up, so they're kind of attacking people doing their thing.
I would hazard a guess, a reason probably why the sequel villains aren't going to be in here probably is because, and I don't know this for a fact, Jim might know more, but I would hazard a guess and say, yeah, there's probably no exhibits with sequel villains in the Disney parks because nobody remembers them and nobody cares.
Marcus, your headset's all fucked up.
Yeah.
Anyway, actually, what it is the thing about it is that these villains, the idea is that yes, Walt Disney created the forms that we know, but 98% of the stuff Disney has created is based on existing stories that have been around for decades, if not centuries. And so it's basically just they gained a form. Something like that, yeah. It's basically they've been around for a long time, and Disney gave them a form, and it's the belief in them that was perpetrated by Disney's movies that gives them their power and makes them alive. So,
hello?
I think the idea is just that, okay, these are the original villains that have been in these stories, that's why they exist, whereas the sequel villains were created for the sake of the sequel, it might not necessarily really exist. But we'll find out, you never know.
Any of what I said, or did it all flip out?
We heard what you said, he just answered you, but
fair enough.
And he explained why, but yeah, which is fair enough. I was just wondering about like that, or say like Kingdom Hearts, I don't know, Kingdom Hearts 3, let's say, when it comes out. Instead of going and stopping Ursula yet again because Little Mermaid, why not throw in some of the sequel villains too? Come on, I'll mix it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, Little Mermaid might not be the best example for that one.
I thought Ursula's sister, whatever she was from the second one, wasn't that bad.
Yeah, she was. No, I'm saying that's the thing is that the villain was just Morgana. It was Ursula's sister who was using Ursula's magic and who was voiced by the same voice actress.
It was, but you can always make both of them together, like the two Ursula sisters. That'd work. They'd totally match.
Fair enough.
But it was just an example, but sorry, continue.
But anyway, yeah, so it's getting pretty cool. The other big plot line that they're going with in regards to Mickey's missing is that the Overtakers broke into into a very old Disney Imagineer vault library thing and stole an original Imagineer journey. Because the official Disney Imagineers were not formed until the mid-50s. But as is explained, the proto-Imagineers, if you will, the people who would become the Imagineers, had started planning things out in the 40s. Some of the earliest things they planned out in the journals were plans for Pinocchio and Fantasia. And so one of these journals, one of these diaries was stolen by the Overtakers for reasons unknown, and they don't know exactly what's in it. It wasn't one of the ones they had digitized yet. So the Overtakers went through a lot of effort to break into this secure building and steal this old Imagineer journal. So we don't really know what's in there, but presumably it's something related to their evil plan of whatever they want to do. Because it's heavily hinted in this whole thing that it's not just take over the parks. There's something much bigger that the Overtakers want to do, but nobody really knows exactly what it is. So hopefully we're going to find out.
To quote the brain, they want to take over the world.
Yeah, that's really cool, except for one tiny part you mentioned kind of contradicts the plot.
What's that?
The soldiers in Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
So, back in the 1950s and stuff, when all these stories were meant to have been written about stuff that had existed years ago, they would have accurately been able to predict that in 1990s kids would want a spaceship toy instead of a cowboy and throw him away, and that the pizzeria would still be there so the Buzz and his friends could go on the journey and get lost, and the truck had passed over Woody in this way, which totally doesn't make fucking sense because he's there 1 minute standing perfectly still, the wheel comes towards him, next shot it's over him, why the fuck wasn't he run over? And then Sid, how did they know this?
There's two different types of Overtakers, if you will. There's the real Overtakers, Maleficent, the powerful villains. The people these are the villains that have existed in ancient stories for years. They have magical powers. They are real. At the same time, the Overtakers can also use their magic, and they can basically pull a night at the museum. And they make exhibits and shit come to life. Like, in the first book, one of the first things that Finn encounters in the very first chapters of the first book when he first crosses over is he gets chased around by the animatronic pirates from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And they're swinging swords at him and crap. So they can the exhibits can also be brought to life by the magic, not just the real creatures that are spirits that are there, but also these attractions kind of come to life down in the museum style. So I think the Green Army Men were just from the Toy Story exhibit and were just the little robot or the statues, whatever they came to life. They were not actually living Overtakers.
Okay, well, then that makes much more sense. Yeah, that just seemed really weird. It's like, why does Cruella de Vil know how modern day works when 101 Dalmatians was set in the past?
Well, modern day, Andrew, modern day then, but it's more like, Cruella de Vil in her movie, she drove around in a car, she used phones, she did all that kind of stuff, whereas someone like, for example, Maleficent or the Evil Queen who lived in a medieval kingdom wouldn't necessarily know how all that shit works.
But that is true. I will say it was just the time that's a little weird, because, I was alive, obviously, in the 1990s and 1980s, like mid-80s to, now. I don't know how the fuck the world's working now, as we spoke before, about how everything's changing and how everything that we know and love has changed. I don't know this shit. Like, Cruella de Vil knows how to use a dial phone. I'm sure she doesn't know how to use an iPhone.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about it. Yeah, the only thing we've seen her use, we saw her pick up a payphone. So...
Fair enough. But no, like I said, it sounds like a great series. I'm looking forward to possibly picking it up.
It is a great series, and you know what? It's probably a little beyond them right now, but once your niece and nephew are a little older, they'll probably enjoy it too.
Possibly.
Yeah. I don't know if they're big Disney kids, but
they like Disney, like they get Disney Infinity and stuff like that. And I know, like, my niece has read all the Twilight books and all the Harry Potter books and stuff like that. So
you let her read. You let her read Twilight. You terrible, terrible person.
Hey, I let her read Harry Potter, and that's equally terrible. But
no.
When she's older, when she's outgrown like the Harry Potter phase, I can let her read Disney.
Fair enough. Anyway, so it's a good series so far. So we're gonna see where this. Now that they've introduced a lot more of the Overtakers, and we're seeing a lot more villains and stuff going on, it's getting a little more interesting. Plus, we're seeing the good characters show up too, and that's adding a whole nother element to what's going on. So it's interesting to see the development and how it's all proceeding and where it's going to inevitably end up at. Because Disneyland is where it's going to all end up. Because the idea is that they started in all the Florida parks, then they're on the Disney cruise ship for the next 2 books, going down to the Panama Canal to come through and come up in California, where they'll end up at Disneyland, which, as Wayne has mentioned, is where the heart of the kingdom lies and always has lain. And he believes that with the Overtakers in Florida, California is safe from them, which is obviously not going to be the case. And I guess apparently the Euro parks and internationally can fuck off, I guess. But
to be fair, it sounds like they've plotted out a journey from the new Disney park to the original one, and they'll end it at the original one. When they go to do the sequel series you're on about, then they'll probably care about like Japanese Disney and Euro Disney and all that crap.
Maybe.
And that's probably the world.
Yeah, that's called Kingdom Keepers: The Return. Supposedly a threat worse than the Overtakers. So we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, so the series is getting very good. Like I said, I'm just started this one. I haven't gotten that far into it yet, but it looks like it's pretty good. It should be interesting to see where it goes, and I will keep updating you as we go on. Again, check the series out, Kingdom Keepers. There are 7 books. Check your local libraries or your local bookstores. They're out there. Good stuff. And bombard Disney and beg them to make a movie of this, please, because these movies would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that because it sounds to me like problems I had with the Kingdom Hearts stories. This is fixed. It's Kingdom Hearts done right. I kind of want to see this or experience it. I'm just waiting because I don't want Jim to get to the 7th book and then turn around and say, "Oh, damn it, the whole ending was fucking a piece of shit that ruined the whole series." Which
is fair enough. You don't want to waste your time. I understand.
It's Disney. I know their sequels. I'm waiting to see how the 7th one pays off.
Fair enough. But it is pretty. Like I said, it is a pretty good series so far. And yeah, it's kind of a little bit like Kingdom Hearts. It's got a little bit of that feel, but it's all about. And I think it's being sponsored and written. Disney is sponsoring and writing the thing. And the guy, like I said, the Ridley Pearson, the author, has gone to ridiculous lengths to research and make these books Disney accurate. He's gone to all the parks. They let him into the backstage areas where he's observed all the stuff that only staff members see, how every little facet of the park works, opening procedures, closing procedures, everything the parks do to make sure that at any point in time that the Kingdom Keepers are in the parks, whether it's as holograms in the middle of the night, whether it's early morning in holograms, whether they get their first thing as their human selves that are there during the day, whatever it is, the park is accurate, and you could go there and do exactly what they're doing, and it would be accurate as you read it in the book. There's only 1 or 2 specific instances where something was not accurate. Like there's a mention of, for example, in Disney World, in Cinderella Castle, there is an apartment in a high tower. It was put there for Walt Disney to use or for other VIPs to use. At this point now they have special things where they do special drawings for a family can stay there, and it's a fully functional apartment. But it's in the book they mentioned that in the apartment there's he adds a room to get to the apartment called Escher's Keep, where it's this optical illusion room. Like if you've heard of Escher's Keep, the painting. Yeah, S.C. Escher painting with all the stairs on it. It's a room like that, where as you walk through, the illusion makes you feel like you're walking on the ceiling in different stairwells, even though you're sort of not. It's kind of a cool thing the Imagineers put together. He made that up for this book. But aside from 1 or 2 things like that were just, like, for example, that was like the apartment is their headquarters, so he wanted there to be some kind of cool thing to their headquarters, so the Overtakers couldn't just walk the fuck up there and get them. So, he kind of added that in. But for the most part, 99% of what he puts in here for the parks is accurate as you would find it in the parks. And that's what really makes you special. It's not only are you saying, oh, here's Disney, you're learning about the history of Disney, the creation of Disney villains, things that Walt Disney did back in the day to make these villains, about the attractions in the parks as they were built, what's been renovated, what's been changed, what's original, and also, how the parks run, what you can see at the parks at different times. And just a lot into Disney as an organization as a whole, and that's, I think, maybe, I don't know about the kid readers that this is necessarily written for. It is a juvenile series, but to readers like me, that's just as cool as seeing, oh look, the Disney villains are real and they're fighting them. Seeing all about the internal workings of Disney is just as cool to me. So I think it's really cool. Like I said, check the series out. It's out there. There's 7 books. Go get them. The last one just came out a couple months ago, so it's a fairly recent series. Give it a shot. There's no Frozen as far as I know. I'm sorry.
Am I the only one who wants, when they get to Disneyland, have Mickey walk out of, that big ass castle in Disneyland? Is that Cinderella's castle?
No, Cinderella Castle is at Disney World. Sleeping Beauty Castle.
Yeah,
is at, I think.
I
might have those reversed, but
maybe. But I want him to walk out of that castle and Finn be like, "Wait, Mickey, you've been here the whole time?" It's like, well, kinda. It's like, where have you been? What have you been doing? And then they get attacked, and you see this giant fist come out of nowhere and just like punch whoever's attacking Mickey, knock him out. He's like, helping a friend who's now ready to return the favor. And they pan up, and it's Wreck-It Ralph standing there.
That'd be cool.
So, welcome to the future.
That'd be interesting.
Nice.
But yeah, it's Cinderella Castle's at Disney World. Sleeping Beauty Castle is at Disneyland in California. But no, it's heavily indicated based on the little snippets that they used to advertise these books that originally it was the 6 books. There's actually a time gap before this final book came out. This book was written with the help of the fans interacting with the author via an app, a phone app that he put out, giving him ideas and feedback to make this book the best it could be. The last book here. and it's mentioned that this happens a few years later, because in this book, as of this point in time, they're just some of the Kingdom Keepers are at their last year of middle school, some just moved on to high school, whereas this jumps up to their high school graduation. So to wrap it up, at that point in time, with the Kingdom Keepers graduating high school and with the final adventure against the Overtakers, who were quiet for years and then suddenly came back, and it's mentioned that there's a journey involved to find a lost icon that had been missing for a long time. That's the only hope to save the parks. So,
It's probably Mickey.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Oswald, that'd be fun.
Or
But
Walt
yeah.
Disney's Frozen had.
But yeah. So, it's really, if you get a chance to read it, if you love Disney like I do, read it. You'll learn a lot about not only Disney characters and movies and how some of these things were created, but you also learn about the Disney parks, how they run, how the organization works, how they do all these cool things you see at the park that make it seem so real and so magical to everyone who goes there. It's a great series. I will keep reporting on this weekly until it is done, and I will let you know. And when it is done, I will check all the books out, and I will do a review of the series as a whole. That will be coming for the Lair of the Phoenix. Stay tuned. That's all I got. Let's wrap this. Back to Shadow.
Right. Thank you, Jim. Yes, Mo.
I just went. When you said over to Shadow.
Fair enough. So yes, that will do it for the X-Pound for this week on Around the Pound. Thank you all for joining us. It has been long. Today's episode was a little long. So it's not your fault, just in general. It was long.
We apologize for the length of this episode. We will try to keep ourselves shorter in the future.
Indeed, but we hope you enjoyed listening to our...
For some of us, that'll be easier than others. Huh, Marcus?
Huh?
Keeping ourselves short. Huh?
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's gone over his head. Huh?
I had to. But yes, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed yourselves, enjoyed listening to us ramble on and banta, as Englishmen would say. And join us again next week when we do the same thing, hopefully for not as long. Till then, I've been your host, Marcus Shadow, James Phoenix, and Priz the Mole. Have a good night.